No, well, first of all, thank you for being here. We've never done this before, but I think just the continued evolution of our sport, continued evolution of college athletics. It's a great chance to just chat about what's happening. And we since January we have four new freshmen, if you include Hannah Benjamin, who had an ACL last year. We have three transfers that have come in. Events that have never occurred in our sport before, like the ACC SEC Challenge. We're having an event called the Block Party in Nashville that we are invited to play Nebraska. SEC tournament's first season since 2005. And just the news that our sport continues to garner across the country along with other women's sports is pretty amazing. So I'm just glad we have this chance to get in front of you and share a little bit about volleyball and what's happening. Yes, sir.
I heard Greg Sankey on the radio talking about the tournament, the SEC tournament, and he said initially coaches weren't thrilled about it, but came around. Now that's the commissioner saying that. I don't want to get you in trouble. If indeed that's accurate, how did that all evolve?
I'm trying to think how many years I have to go back for when this started, because this conversation started 10, 12 years ago to bring it back. If I'm not mistaken, the coaches initially voted to have it in, but it was a vote of 7-6 out of 13 coaches at the time. And it was decided to not do it either because of not enough interest from the coaches, or that the league decided it wasn't the right time. So then it continued to have, how do we do it? When do we do it? Do we do it over Thanksgiving? Do we not do it over Thanksgiving because of the interest? Do we do it before Thanksgiving? What do we do about the regular season schedule? Because we've had more teams from the SEC make the NCAA tournament. And then ultimately, my biggest advocacy for it was that because we didn't have a balanced schedule, there was no true champion in terms of everyone played everybody, home and away. So how do we determine a true champion on the court that is satisfied the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament? And having a championship does that, obviously, because you're determining it on the court. And others also agree that a lot of people disagreed because of having to try and play 3 or 4 matches in a row, then 4 or 5 days off, and then play the NCAA tournament, which you hear basketball coaches talk about also. But first, we're doing it. We're having at it. Savannah, Georgia, here we come.
And you're good with that. You like it?
I love the fact that we're getting a chance to compete in the tournament. Single elimination prior to the NCAA tournament that none of the other top leagues in the country are doing yet. How that affects our players and what the end of the season, TBD. Location, don't know yet. Hopefully Savannah can bring a volleyball crowd there. But it's an exciting time.
Sankey mentioned exposure, obviously TV, that's got to be a huge plus.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last 3 rounds of the tournament are all on linear TV, and I think everything else is on SEC Plus, right?
4 of the 5 rounds will be on linear.
4 or 5.
Was Saturday.
Yeah. So all 16 teams are going. You're guaranteed 16 matches in the league. We've had 18 in the past, which has allowed us to spread it out a little bit. But still playing our tough usual schedule this year. It's a good question. There's a lot to really find out about it.
Have your players talked a lot about the SEC tournament, or is it not something they've even mentioned yet? Is it too far off?
I wouldn't say recently we've talked a whole lot about it. I think when we were originally having conversations about it, one of my challenges as the coach, hey, ask our players, what do they want? Do they want a tournament? And I never forget when I brought it up in our meeting rooms, like, guys, what do you think about a SEC tournament? And if we had 13 players on the team at the time, I think 11 or 12 of them raised their hand and said, yes, let's do it. So the players want to compete, they want to play in a championship. And now we get our chance. So I have no doubt that they're feeling the same way. Now, what that looks like in terms of how we're doing and how everyone's mentally and physically doing at that time of year, we'll find out. But it's a great chance for our league to take a step forward.
So you had a lot of players get some different opportunities this summer. How much does that help them, but also help you in the long run?
Well, when you get a chance to compete with USA Volleyball, I mean, it's the cream of the crop of all the players in the country, and so they love that chance. They go through a process, an evaluation process. There's people all over the country evaluating our players during the season. But yeah, I mean, they get at least a week, and then the players that make the travel roster, get another week of competing. And so anytime you're playing at that high a level with people around you that are equally as talented as you are, it benefits them, but it also benefits us. And we could have started practice on July 31st, but because we have these opportunities, because our team is working so hard this year, we felt like the best time to get going was August 5th. So, but yeah, I'm proud of those guys for getting those chances, and it certainly benefits everybody.
You worry about burnout when players are playing all summer and then coming, get hurt hard?
Haven't seen that yet in 20 years, but I would also say that I'm probably maybe overly conscious of making sure our players get enough recovery time. In the past, we've had some injuries and things that have really made me that way. But what you're saying is exactly why 3 weeks ago, the NCAA granted us a waiver to start July 31st. So we originally had our schedule to start on August 8th. We could have gone a whole full week ahead of that. All our players had plans. They're finishing workouts on the 31st or going on vacation. They're going home. So to split the difference, I felt was the best thing to do in that time, but also gives them a chance to recover and get ready for being back on campus.
You have several returners who just operate at such a high level for this team, play important roles on this team. How do you view your role in their development, and how do you take someone like Brooklyn DeLay, who's already so good, and continue to make sure that she's evolving?
I think that physically and mentally, there's always room to improve. I think one thing that Brooklyn is so challenges herself all the time that she can learn to give herself some grace. Like, she's not always going to be perfect, and Brooklyn strives to be perfect all the time. So how do we find that balance of motivation and understanding that there's learning opportunities in between? So little things like that help her take the next level. And then currently she's playing with USA Volleyball. Every athlete is playing with their armpits at the top of the net. So how do I score when I can't pound it straight to the floor? How do I get a little bit better in serve receive? You're not going to overhaul someone like that, but keep them motivated. How can they become a better leader by example? How can they say things at the right time that might help someone that was in her shoes 2 years ago? But some of it is also bringing someone like Eva Hudson into the program that led the Big Ten in kills. It's like, oh, she's pretty good. I better step it up today. So.
What specifically do you have in place to support the players mentally?
Well, we have a team, comprised of people like our athletic trainer, who is very well versed in that. We have Dr. Cormier, sports psychologist, works with our team on a season basis and throughout the year, both as a group and individually as individual players. We also have psychiatrists associated on staff at the university for anything above and beyond sports psychology. So there's a lot of people with experience in an area that I don't have professional experience. I have wisdomly experience, I guess, in that area. That's a terrible word, but we'll go with it for now. So I think that it's not one person, it's teammates, it's families, it's also professional help that we have at the university. Yes.
You've not had to make a lot of decisions in the last 8 years about yourself. You kind of stay with for 4 years, maybe one.
Mm-hmm.
So what's it like now sitting here, or do you already know who it's going to be, or what's going to be like the next few weeks?
It's kind of exciting, Larry. I mean, it's just kind of like, oh, well, we know that Emma Grome is going to set for 4 years. We know that Madison Lilly is going to set for 4 years. Now it's competition. And again, I don't want to bring up, a guy named Bobby Knight that always said that the biggest motivator was on the bench, but if you're not playing, where are you? And so I don't view that in this situation because they're both really internally motivated people. But I don't know yet. We had a spring full of them both good equal chances on the court, which by design, there wasn't really trying to win matches in the spring. They both looked good in camp working with their teams and doing demonstrations. But they're both, Ava came in from a program that won 3 straight state championships in the state of Michigan, been here 3 years. Cassie O'Brien's club team competed for a national championship every year and was very highly regarded as a recruit coming out of high school. So we have two great options right now.
But your pre-conference schedule's typically rough. How do you feel about the way this particular roster is equipped to handle that? Because we've talked through the years about ups and downs, and you can benefit from losses and all that. And they have.
Yep.
But what about this group? What do you see?
Well, obviously the people like, Tuzzo and Brooklyn and Eva Hudson and, I'm glad our two, returning starting middles had chances last year to play against really good teams. So is experience returning. There's inexperience in the setting position and on the right side, in terms of that. So we have a couple positions that the decision was, okay, do we schedule tough and because we know we have some great players and have a chance at the end of the year to compete for a national championship? Do we go somewhere in between, because we need to learn about these teams? Well, then we had no choice because it was ACC, SEC challenge. It was, Big Ten, SEC deal. And so it is, what we typically do, maybe even a little bit tougher, all final four teams from last year on our schedule. But I do not feel like we will get to where we want to go if we don't play these teams.
Bringing in 3 transfers, you think that would kind of be the trend going forward, that you might have that many in 1 year? Or is that just kind of an unusual mark for you for this year?
Probably a unique scenario. I mean, we will always consider transfers, but I will stand by the fact that this is a program of development, and we will develop our players physically, mentally, develop into leaders to springboard them into whatever career they aspire to. So I don't plan to go, hey, we're going to recruit transfers in this class, transfers in that class. We want people that are all in for Kentucky, that are not about only material things. Our players are getting the chances to earn money, which they should have a long time ago. But we also want them to be developed and be about the University of Kentucky volleyball program and the university itself. So if and when those things happen and they get here, that's what it's going to be about. And this year it happens to be Eva and Lizzie and Molly, who are incredibly committed to this program and this university.
Molly's personality, just what will that add to the team in itself, no matter what she does on the court?
Well, you saw me smile when you said that. I mean, just her outgoing, engaging personality, like her sister Maddie, who played for us. They understand the big picture. The big picture is Kentucky volleyball. The big picture is the university, is the Wildcats. And, when you have people like that in your program, you have a chance. If you have only people thinking only about what's particular to themselves, you don't have less of a chance. We have a lot of unique personalities on this team. Our fans are going to be like, they're just going to want to be around these guys because of the way they go about their business.
Greg, you have a lot of depth at the pins this year. How do you balance having this many elite level pin hitters, and obviously playing time is just so limited? So how do you balance all of that?
Well, it's nice that we do have it because in practice they can't take a day off. And so that makes it easy for them. You're right, the hard part is for us to decide what is our best trio of pins to be on the floor at the same time, because you have the 2 on the left and the 1 on the right. And, we may not know for sure. I mean, obviously Brooklyn and Eva have established themselves as elite players on the left side in the country, and, you would expect them to be on the floor day one as starters. But we also have Hannah Benjamin, who's coming back from an ACL, Asia Thigpen, who's an incredible outside hitter, Georgia Watson, who hits the ball incredibly hard, Jordan Daly, who's played some on the right in the spring. I don't know 100% yet who our third pin is going into it, but I know that whenever we have challenges, if it's an injury or someone gets sick or whatever, we have options. Last year it was like we have some options, but they aren't proven options. This year I think we have proven options that will make us good, and it may be by committee at times. And that's okay. Until we get to November, December, I'm fine with that.
Can you talk about Hannah a little bit? I think fans are excited to see what she can bring. Obviously, the injury last year kind of took her schedule off what it was supposed to be, but a lot of people are just excited about what she can bring, and especially to this team that already has so much talent on it.
Yeah, as a recruit, she was probably one of the top 3 or 4 or 5 outside hitters in the country in her class. First 6-on-6 chance we had in practice, she goes down, and our first swing really for a kill in 6-on-6 before we went to Japan last year. She hits the ball incredibly hard. She can play all the way around. She can play defense. She can pass. We are, obviously her first position is on the left, but because we have established players like Brooklyn and Eva, we're going to give her some chances on the right side. And, blocking is probably a thing that she's not as comfortable on the right, but, athletic as she is, she can pick it up. She's got an incredible serve. And she's just super passionate person about people in volleyball. I don't think she even knows yet where she's going to be, but she's going to die trying.
How excited are you to see Andres and Ajani come to Memorial with Vanderbilt this year?
I'll be excited till the first whistle, then it's down to business. No. Well, I was just talking with Chris and Maggie. I mean, Anders, Ajani, Sarah Rumley, Connor Zimick at South Carolina was on staff here. Nathan Matthews is on the Alabama staff. Jeff Fiorenza at A&M was on our staff here. Lindsey Walton, who's on this staff at A&M. I mean, we have almost 10 people that were, developed, partially Kentucky developed them to be in the SEC. So there's going to be a lot of blue under their current colors that they're wearing. So it'll be a fun year.
Coach obviously picked first in the SEC preseason poll. I'm sure that came as no shock to you.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, we lose two players that played every point of their career on a starting right side and a starting left side. So it's not like we came back with 7 starters or 6 starters. And I guess it's a sign of respect. I mean, we have won it the last 8 years, or at least a share, and so I guess you have to consider that in your voting process. But man, there's some, Texas obviously returns what they return. Texas A&M has an incredible team coming back. Missouri is reloaded again. Tennessee is very good again. I mean, who knows? What I think about preseason polls. They don't mean a whole lot, but sign of respect, I guess, is the best thing I could say.
You talked through the years and you've shown how vital competition and practice can be as kind of a cornerstone, it seems, of your program. And a lot of other coaches are talking about how it's a player-driven program, no matter what the sport. Feels like that has really taken root here, that you don't need to preach that your veteran players are doing that. Is that accurate, and just how vital is that?
Yeah, I mean, the most powerful teams it comes from within. I can drag them down the tracks, but it's not going to be as powerful as if they're driving the train on their own. And this group of upperclassmen, which incredible, we have 1 senior in Eva Hudson, but a junior class, and all of them are recruited into this knowing that this is your program. This, wherever you take us is where we're going to go. I'll help guide us down the road. Our staff will help get us in the right direction, but you have to drive the bus. It is that. We want them to feel like it's bigger than themselves. And, I kind of joke in the recruiting process, if they aren't able to coach their own team when they leave this program, then we failed. So, hopefully they're able to do some of that.
Could you just talk a little bit about Asia and what kind of jump maybe you expect her to make this year, and just how intense of a competitor is she on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, any and every coach would want a player like Asia Thigpen on their team. I mean, she is an incredible competitor. She never stops trying to get better. Saw her, serve receive some balls in camp and a drill, and you can tell that she's been working her butt off on that, as hard as she hits the ball. I mean, again, whether she's playing back row, front row, she's all in. And, she will give every player on this roster a reason to compete. I'm not going to bet against Asia Thigpen to be playing for us.